Hi guys, welcome back to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Shina Amario. Today we're going to be making some nice yummy chicken wings, teriyaki glazed chicken wings to be more precise, with some sweet coleslaw. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you guys joined us. So to get started with the chicken wings, we're going to be making some chicken wings, of course, like I've mentioned, and then we're going to be using some vegetables for the coleslaw. So for the coleslaw, we're going to be using some capsicum, some sweet capsicum, some carrot, some cucumbers, and some lettuce. And then for the ingredients that are going to go into the sweet chili and as well as the teriyaki chicken wings, we're going to be using some pepper. Of course, I always have to use my pepper, you know me. Some pepper, some salt, some sesame seeds, some chili. Chili is optional here. Some honey, some tomato paste, the sweet chili, and then as well as some vinegar, some teriyaki sauce, some oyster sauce, some oil. This is just regular sunflower oil, and then some ginger and some garlic, and of course some fresh herbs. I'll be using some parsley mixed in with some dhania. That's what I'll be mainly using. So to get right started, I'm going to put on my oven. The dish we're making is teriyaki chicken wings. So we're going to put on our oven, and then afterwards I'm going to show you how to cut the wings. So for the oven, just make sure everything is on as always, and then set your temperature. Start it off at about 200 degrees, and then we're going to go ahead and put our timer. So the timer is just to give the oven enough time to start heating. So I've just put it at about 40 minutes, but then after that time I'm going to then put my wings then. But usually 10 minutes is enough, it's ample time to actually get your oven hot enough. And then for that, I'm going to get my tray here. And then for the tray, all I'm doing is just getting some foil, aluminum foil, and then I'm just going to layer my tray with it. And all this does is just ensure that your chicken wings will not stick to the surface. That's for one. And then also it's going to make the cooking process, the cleaning up process, at least easier to wash up. Especially if you don't like to wash up, this is like a good tip for you, because all the oil and the juices from the chicken wings are going to be on the greaseproof paper. So when it comes to cleaning up, it's going to be really simple. So we're going to add a bit of some dash of oil. Actually, let me just use this one because it's easy. So this is olive oil, but you can use the sunflower oil. I've just opted to do this because it's easier to spread because of the nozzle. And then we're just going to spread this. So usually you can use your hands, or you can use a paper towel if you don't want to get your hands dirty at this stage. So just spread out the oil evenly. Then now set your tray aside. So your tray is nice and prepped. So that's what we mean by prepping your tray, ready to go into the oven. And then just place it aside, get this out of the way, and then get some of the kitchen paper towel, and then just wipe off your hands. So to get started with the chicken wings, I've mentioned I'm making some teriyaki glazed chicken wings. And for the chicken wings, you can see I've already gone ahead and sliced some of the wings. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now you can cut your wings whichever style you want to. You could leave them whole if you wanted to. I don't like leaving my wings whole because I like to have them like individual, like the drumstick part and like the little wingette part. So I like to have them like separated. So what I like to do is take off the wing tip. So to take off the wing tip, I just spread out my chicken wing, and then I just cut through the joint. And then now I go ahead and then I do the same thing for the other side, so as to separate both the wingette and that's what I call it, and the drumsticks. Basically the flats, other people call them the flats, and the drumstick part. So and there you have it. So you cut right across the joint, and then you place those, and then to repeat the same process again, just take off the wing tip, and then cut through the joint. And once you do this for a while, you're able to tell where the joint is. So it takes some practice, of course. Again, just take off the wing tip. Now, like I've said, you could definitely leave the tip if you wanted to. You could make your wing by just actually cutting through the drumstick, separating the drumstick and leaving the tip on with the wingette part or the flat part. So it's up to you. You could leave your wing like that. But like I said, personally, most people tend to not eat the tips anyway. So I just discard them. And you could also use the tips if you want to discard them actually for like stock. If you wanted to make like chicken stock, you could just go ahead and use these tips for making chicken stock. Right now I'm not going to use them, so I'm just going to discard them. But like I've said, you don't have to. You could use them for making stock, which is nice and essential. So for the marinade for this, it's going to be the teriyaki sauce that I've mentioned. And then always a tip, always ensure that everything here is nice and dry for your chicken wings before you start adding on your sauces. So I'm just going to make sure that I dab my chicken dry. Now you could use serviettes if you don't have a kitchen paper towel for this, but you might want to use like a lot of serviettes because the quality of the paper tends to be a bit lighter compared to like the paper towel, and so more liquid will stick there compared to this. And then you could also use like a kitchen towel, like a real kitchen towel, not like the kitchen paper towel, so like a proper one. You could use that as well to just get off any extra moisture in your wings. And all this does is just to ensure that once you put on your moisture, that the wings are dry, they're going to absorb the moisture so that they'll crisp up nicely and they're not going to leach off any of the extra water that's in them. Now if you have the time, you could do this overnight. You could marinate your wings overnight, that's always best. So I'm going to clean my hands here and then just get rid of any particles. Oh well. Yes, so then we're going to go on a short break, and then after the break I'll show you guys how to marinate the chicken wings and put them in the oven. So see you after the break. Hi guys, welcome back to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Shina Amariom. If you're just tuning in, today we're making teriyaki glazed chicken wings with some sweet coleslaw. So I'm taking your regular coleslaw to a top notch. I'm actually not going to be using cabbage for it. I'm going to be using lettuce just to show you can do different things with your lettuce. And then I'm going to be adding some capsicums in there. So it's not your regular mayonnaise sort of like cabbage and carrot sort of lettuce. And then for the chicken wings, we're going to be glazing them with some teriyaki sauce. So to mix the teriyaki sauce, I'm going to get my bowl and get my grater, and I'm going to be using some garlic. Now the garlic, you could use garlic powder if you wanted to, and all I'm going to do is just grate this. So go ahead and grate your garlic. So this is just going to give your garlic a nice kind of like fine texture. You could definitely chop it if you wanted to, but the grating is just a lot easier. And I do it with the skin on, as you can see, because the skin comes right off. It's not going to be actually grated. You'll notice that. And then place it aside once you're done, the skin aside, and look at the extra bits. So whatever is chunky and you're not going to use, just place that aside. Example that and those. And then I'll just collect your grated garlic. So as you can see, it's very fast to grate your garlic. You could definitely use a knife if you wanted to. So I'm going to get my ginger as well, and for my ginger it's nice and washed, so I'm not going to bother peeling it, but you can peel it if you want to. I usually skip this step if I've washed my ginger very, very well, but it's a preference thing. If you want to, then definitely just peel off the skin if you feel like it's going to be such a big deal for you. Now for this, I'm putting quite a good amount of ginger. As you saw, the amount I had was pretty much that stick. I like my teriyaki wings a bit on the ginger side, like heavy on the ginger, which is why I'm going to add all that ginger. So you know it's going to have a bit of a kick, for sure, for sure. And then now get rid of your waste. As always, clean up as you go. It's always the simplest way to do your cooking in the kitchen. And then just clean your hands here and your board. So once you're done with the ingredients, the ones that you are going to grate, which is the ginger and garlic like I've mentioned, then now you add your sauces. So for the sauces, I'm using teriyaki. Now if you didn't have teriyaki, actually something you could do is make your own teriyaki from scratch, and all you'll need for that is actually just get some soy sauce and some sugar or some honey, and then just mix that up. It will dilute the saltiness of the soy sauce and then add some sweetness from the honey or the sugar. And you could also add some vinegar to balance it all out. But for that, I'm actually using teriyaki, store-bought teriyaki sauce, so it's already sweet enough. And that's the difference between like soy sauce and teriyaki sauce. But to this, I'm going to add other things to it because I like to always mix my own sauces. Even if I buy store-bought sauces, I just like to add my own flavors to them. So this as itself is good. If you are going to make your sauce this way for the teriyaki, it's good as it is because like I've mentioned, it has a sweetness of its own. You don't need to add anything. It's already like kind of like balanced by itself. But I like to go the extra mile and add a few other things. So I'm going to add some tomato paste, and the tomato paste here is just going to kind of like thicken the sauce just a little bit, and of course give it a bit of the red color, but you won't really notice the red color because of the darkness of the teriyaki sauce. So mix that in there. Then we're going to get some honey. Again, I'm going to get some more sweetness from this, so we're just going to add a generous amount of honey. So a good amount of that honey. You could use sugar if you didn't have honey. And then what we're also going to add, I'm not going to add salt because like I've mentioned, if you're using soy sauce or teriyaki sauce, it's kind of like, for the teriyaki sauce, it normally has a sweetness and a saltiness to it. Whereas for soy sauce, it's already salty. So what I like to do, instead of adding the salt, usually I'll taste it and see if I need to, but most times you don't need to. So place that aside. We've added our black pepper, add some chili, so a pinch of chili. Remember, you're going to get a bit of a kick from the ginger, so if you're not into very spicy stuff, then you want to definitely dial down on the ginger and on the chili because it's going to come right through your throat. Trust me, I know. So we're going to add some oyster sauce as well. Again, this is completely optional, but I've just said I like to make my sauces my own, so I like to add a little extra touch. And then now we're just going to go ahead and mix this. And then I'm going to taste it. Already you can see the thickness has changed from how light this is. This was the teriyaki sauce when you get it as a store-bought item. But now that I've added my own items into this, it's now nice and thick. So I'm just going to give this a good mix. And I'm going to give it a taste as well. Now if you have the time, you could definitely marinate your wings overnight, or for at least 20 minutes. The sweetness and the ginger, woo! I can actually taste that. And like I've said, if you like your food spicy, then this is going to work really well for you. But if you don't, then dial back on the ginger and dial back on the chili. So this is good enough for me. So I'm just going to add this here. And also a tip, if you could actually use this sauce if you wanted to for something like spring rolls, you could dip them in this because of the saltiness. It will taste really well. You could also use samosas for this. So I usually like to spare some little bit on the side. So I don't like mixing all my wings in it. I like to spare just a little bit in case I decide later on I wanted to use it as a dip. You could also use it and actually boil it down and reduce it even further to make it really, really thick, where it will actually act as a proper glaze. So I'm going to use my hands here and just get right ahead into the mixing. Then I'm going to check my ingredients to make sure nothing has been left out. Now I tasted this and to me the balance was good. If it wasn't, I'll add a bit of the vinegar. The vinegar I had there was apple cider vinegar, but you could use whichever vinegar you wanted. I chose apple cider vinegar because if I needed to balance this out, it has some sweetness to it. And like I've mentioned, the teriyaki glaze usually has like some nice sweetness and salty to it. But I have no need for the vinegar, so I'm not going to add it. You could also use something like rice wine vinegar, which is more traditionally Chinese. Or you could use whatever you have. White vinegar will work just as well. So mix your wings in really well. And if you have the time, like I've mentioned, definitely marinate this overnight or at least 20 minutes because your wings, the flavor is going to seep right through and you're going to taste it, trust me. But since we don't have the time, I'm going to go right ahead and I'll place them into my already prepared tray here. Remember my tray, I mentioned all I did is prepare my tray. And my tray, all I've done is add some oil with it. I coated some oil and used a grease and used foil, aluminium foil, just because I don't like doing the cleaning afterwards. It's a lot easier because all the oil and sticky stuff is going to be on the foil, which I'm going to get rid of later. So it's easy to clean your tray and you don't create a whole mess. So that's done. So we're just going to put our wings into the oven. I'm just making sure that each wing here is well coated with my sauce. Like I've mentioned, if you have the time, marinate this overnight. If you don't, give it at least 20 minutes or go right ahead and put it in the oven, because I don't have the time, so that's why I'm putting it right into the oven. But you at home, I advise you to definitely leave it for some time. So I'm going to wash my hands here and then put it in the oven. Now for this, you want your wings to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. Wings cook very fast. You may be thinking that's a short time, but it's decent amount of time. So place your wings in the oven because they don't have a lot of meat. Remember, I've been preheating my oven. I'm going to place it the other way just because of the foil. There we go. And then place it. Okay, so make sure every wing here is actually facing the bottom, spread it out, and nothing is crowding each other. If you end up crowding your tray, then it's going to end up steaming instead of like roasting. So once that's done, put off the heat, then increase your heat slightly to about 250, but I'm going to reduce it later on back to 200, 180. This is just at the beginning when you want it to be a bit on the higher side. So I just want to clean up my hands just because I've touched the wings again. And clear my section. So we're going to leave the wings there for about, like I've said, 15 to 20 minutes. So remember my timer at the beginning, I set it to about 40 minutes. So I'm going to have a look and adjust that because sometimes you might forget. So it's always good to check on your timer. So there we are, 20 minutes. And then now go ahead and start on your salad. So for the salad, I've mentioned I'm making a sweet coleslaw, which is a little different from what you might be used to. I know most of us, when you make coleslaw, you're used to having your coleslaw with cabbage. So I've mentioned I'm not even going to use cabbage. And if you're making a Chinese salad, actually they have like a white cabbage, which you could use. So just give your knife a nice rinse. Okay, and then make sure your board is clean. And if you did cut your chicken wings, make sure that you washed your board. My board here is already clean. I cleaned it during the break. And then just give it a good rub. Okay, so to get started, we're going to get our salad. So for the salad, what we're going to be using is actually a lettuce. So for the lettuce, I'm going to cut it into half. And then make sure that your vegetables are nice and clean. And then all I'm going to do is just slice this. So go ahead and just slice it. So I'm just going to shred it like you would a cabbage, basically. So really, really fine and thin. So if you have some bits that are a little brown in the center, you can just take them off if you don't need them. So go ahead and then now just slice your cabbage. Take off the root. And then slice it. So this for me is going to act as my substitute for my cabbage. Now, if you are using cabbage, definitely you could do the same slicing that I'm doing. Now, I'm using lettuce like I've said, just because most of us are used to using our lettuce in salads. And by salads, I mean with the salads whereby you break your lettuce into chunks and not really sliced. So this is just a good alternative to let you know that you can do a lot more with your lettuce if you're not sure, if you don't even have a cabbage. You don't have to waste your lettuce, or just use it for the chunky salad like I've mentioned. So go ahead and keep slicing your remaining lettuce. And the lettuce here is nice and soft, so that's why I like to substitute it sometimes, not all the time, for the regular white cabbage. And then all you're going to do is just spread this out to get the individual leaves, and it's so pretty already. So just do that, and then we're going to get a plate and place this in there. So get a large plate And then just place your salad. This is just to ensure that all the leaves are individually out, so that when you bite into your salad, it's nice and individual. And it looks so pretty already. So this is like ribbons. I like to call them ribbons, salad ribbons, because you could eat them right as they are. And your lettuce looks just so cuter, so cute, super adorable, don't you think? Okay, so get a plate. Then we're going to just go ahead and place our salad in there. And then we're going to go into the other vegetables. So the other vegetables I'm using for this are capsicums. Again, not traditional for your regular coleslaw, which is why I'm calling mine a sweet coleslaw, because it's got some capsicums, and I'm going to be using a sweet chili, which is just not the normal traditional stuff. So clean your board for the next vegetables. So we're going to use colored capsicums. Now I love colored capsicums because they give your food some nice character into your food. So just slice that right off and then give this a slice. So the same slice you've given there, we're just going to keep slicing this. Now if you don't like capsicums, you don't have to use them. But I love my capsicums, so which is why I'm using them here. And again, they just give your food a nice character. Now I can actually smell my wings. Remember to always have all your senses going on in the kitchen. So I'm going to have a look, and you can hear the sizzle in the oven. The sizzle is going on, so you know, I can smell the smell as well. The ginger is coming right off. Remember, I put a good amount of ginger in there, so you know it's going to be nice and spicy. So we're just going to close that and reduce my heat now that I can hear the sizzling and the bubbling from outside, because I put here at 250. So I'll be back now at 200. Okay, so always remember to keep an eye on everything you're doing. So now back to our chopping of our capsicums. Now I was saying earlier that if you don't like capsicums, you don't have to use them. You could just do this with our regular carrots and cabbage, or now carrot and the lettuce, and leave out the capsicums, or just use the capsicums that you like. So I'm just going to give this another slice. Now I love using colored capsicums just because of the sweetness. They've got this nice peppery kind of like sweetness to them, and I just love them in my salad because it makes it so nice, light and fresh, which is just something I feel like sometimes we need to eat, especially if you're used to eating your food heavy all the time with like a sauce or a stew, and sometimes you just want that lightness, that sweetness. I think colored capsicums are definitely the way to go. So I'm adding some green capsicums as well. Hoho is what we call them in Kenya. And these usually are not as sweet as the colored ones, but they do add some nice character to them. And the good thing with these ones also, they're not like spicy. So I just like to give more color to my salad. Already that's looking colorful. We're going to get to our carrot, and I'm just going to slice this. Now you could grate it if you wanted to, but I like to have some texture in my carrot, so I'm not going to all the way grate it. So I'm going to use my knife here and slice it really, really thin, or as thin as I can go with my knife. So I like to slice it diagonal, and then just go all the way. So with the diagonal cut, I just like to follow that all the way through to the edge. And then you'll see why in a minute, because I like to line up my carrot and then now slice through it. So once it's that way, I just like to line them up. Then all I'm going to do is just slice through the line. So I usually start from there once they're lined up, and this gives it a nice height and length, as you can see. So we're just going to go ahead and now slice this. So you slice through as you pull back your knife and as you pull back your hand to the other already placed and arranged carrots as you go. And you see how neat that looks already? So that's the reason I like to do it diagonal and to line them up that way, just so that it's easy for me to chop. And there we are, voila. So like I said, I like to give my carrots a nice texture, some nice bite to it. I don't like them all the way mush and fine. So just something to note. But if you do like to grate your carrots, then go ahead and grate them. I'm not the one to judge. So for the cucumber, what we're going to do for the cucumber is actually just slice some of the cucumber. So as you can see, for this dish, it's not a lot of cooking. Most of the cooking is happening in the oven. And all we have to do is just make a salad with the time you want to kill. But if you didn't even want to make the salad, then you can go ahead into your couch and just lie there and kill time, or go online and follow us on Facebook and interact with us as you're waiting for your wings. That's something you could do. So we're going to go ahead and slice your carrot, just slicing it into half. And then I'm going to slice it again, just because I've done this the diagonal cut I've said. I'm going to do this in half slices. And for this, I'm not going to add this into my salad here, into the main salad. I'm going to have this separate. And I'm going to season this with some of the teriyaki sauce. Just again to give your food more of a character and bite. So once that's done, get rid of your plate here because I no longer need it. So I'm going to get another bowl for my cucumbers, and we're going to add some teriyaki into that and some sweet. Just hold on. Yes, so we're going to add the cucumber in there, and then into that, actually, let's put this in here so that I can mix the salad in there. So into this, we're going to add a bit of my teriyaki. Remember the store-bought teriyaki? We're just going to add a little bit, not too much. And then add the one that's already mixed. I don't want this very heavy, which is why I've used some of the light one. Then I'm going to add a bit of the vinegar to just dilute and cut through that, because I don't want it to be too salty. And all we're going to do is just mix our cucumbers in this liquid. So give this a stir, and then I'm going to taste it. And this just gives your cucumber a nice little different taste from the regular. So give this a taste. So I'm going to add a bit more vinegar. It's still a bit on the salty side, and I want it to be salty, but not too salty. Then stir that. Like I said, the vinegar will cut right through that. You could also use lemon juice if you wanted, or some orange juice if you wanted as well. Give that another taste. Yes, so the vinegar has actually balanced off the saltiness that was in the marinade, like I mentioned, the teriyaki marinade, as well as the teriyaki sauce. And the reason I'm using this is just to give my cucumbers a nice, different, fresh taste, because the cucumbers by themselves are already fresh, as they are. But I'm just giving them a little character. And of course, this is going to taint them a little bit and stain them a little bit, and you're looking for that. So add all your cucumbers in there. You could also add some fresh herbs in here, or some chili as well, to give this a little bit of some color. So all this does is just taint it a little bit. Just not too much, just a little. And there we have it. So your cucumber is going to have this nice salty, sort of sweet kind of taste, as well as the freshness from its natural juices. And it's just something completely different from your regular cucumber. So these are just small tips that you can definitely try at home. And then for our salad, remember I mentioned I was making a sweet chili sauce. So I'm going to get my store-bought chili sauce here, and then I'm just going to mix in my salad. So all you have to do for this is just add some of the chili sauce and then mix it right in. So for this is just your regular, just go out to the supermarket and then look for whatever brand you're going to get of a sweet chili sauce. That's all it is, sweet chili sauce. Then you just mix this right in there. Then we're going to add some vinegar in this. Again, the vinegar is just to dilute the sweetness now in here. So as you can see, I like to use vinegar a lot of things to balance out a lot of things in the kitchen. Because with your palate, sometimes like with the tongue, it's always like with the sweet, sour, salty. You kind of want to get all those flavors balanced out in your mouth. So I always like to ensure that I'm doing that with everything I cook in the kitchen. So give that a mix. I want to wipe my hands here. And then remember to check on your wings as well. The wings are still cooking, so they're still not ready, but always remember to have a look. So they're still not done, but you can see they're bubbling really, really well. We can have a look at them actually. Always use a hand mitten because you don't want to burn your hand. The oven is really hot. So as you can see, the wings are actually lifting right off, and you can see like you can see now through the bone, and there's like the blackness coming in. That's just to tell you that the joint is it's cooked or starting to cook, because there's no bloodiness right around the joint. So that's a tip for you if you're trying to figure out if the wings are cooked. If you look through the joint and you cannot see any blood, that tells you the wings are actually cooking. But there's still some blood on this other one, so I'm going to let that continue cooking a little bit further. If you look closely, you can actually see that. So we're going to let that cook a little bit further. And then I'm going to continue back to my sauce, the sweet chili sauce. Now if you're just tuning in, today we're making teriyaki glazed chicken wings. Oh, yum. With a sweet coleslaw. Now for the coleslaw, all I'm using is a store-bought chili, as well as vinegar that I've used to just dilute it. So I'm going to go ahead and now add my salad. So I'm going to add just a little bit of the salad, your colored capsicums for the sweet taste, and then the green ones as well, and of course your carrots. So this has that whole everything going on, because you have the sweetness from the peppers, from the sauce, from the carrots. So it's got a lot of natural, light, fresh flavors going on. And like I said, sometimes you just want to get away from the normal stews kind of dishes and just eat light and fresh, especially if you're eating this for lunch, like I did mention earlier. Especially, so if you're eating this for lunch, it's something light so that you won't snooze right after you eat, so that you'll go to work feeling a bit more energized and happy to get back to work. So it's just something to consider. So once your salad is mixed really well, so the sweet chili, you can see all the ingredients have mixed in well. The salad has kind of like wilted a little bit. It's not as firm as it looked there. And the colors are looking so nice and fresh and just vibrant. And I just love cooking with colors because, like I said, we eat with our eyes. And when you have fresh food, you feel more energized. And you always want to try out the food. And you feel energized to do extra work. So I'm going to give this a taste. Remember, I already tasted my sauce, so I already know my sauce is well balanced. But because I've added everything in there, I just want to give this a taste to make sure that everything still tastes as I want it to, and that the vegetables have not really diluted that down. So I'll give this a taste. So the vinegar in this, like I mentioned, because of adding it, I cannot actually taste it through, because what it does is actually cut through the sweetness of the chili, like I mentioned, and that will help your vegetables, because if they have any liquid in them, it's going to dilute the vinegar a little bit as well. So you always, if you don't want your food very sweet, add a bit more vinegar, and whatever you add into it is going to help mellow down the flavor. So to me, this as it is absolutely fine. So I'll just finish it off with herbs, and my timer has gone off, so I'll have a look there before we go on a break. So our salad here is done. Our salad, our sweet coleslaw, remember that's what I mentioned I'm making. A sweet coleslaw is done, and our cucumbers are done. This is just something extra I threw together. These are cucumbers in some teriyaki sauce, just to give it a different taste and texture. So check on your wings now. Yes, so they're bubbling away nicely. So take them out of the oven. Remember, the oven is hot, so always be sure to use a hand mitten. Oh, and the aromas, they smell so good already. So I'm just going to get a knife and just pierce through the center to be sure that it's all the way cooked, because sometimes if it's not, then you'll see like blood, like I mentioned, or juices that are not clear right through when you pierce. So it's always good to have a look and be sure, to be absolutely sure. So that looks cooked to me. There are no juices running that are not clear. You see the juices are now clear. So that tells you your chicken wings are cooked. So if you're ever cooking chicken or some sort of poultry and you pierce your knife through and the juices are not clear, they're like kind of like murky, opaque, reddish, pinkish, then the food is not cooked. Put it back in the oven and let it cook all the way. So for that, we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, we're going to be plating this. So I'm just going to finish off my wings with some little glaze. Just so as to give them the nice sheen That's all I'm going to do with the wings. Just give this a nice little glaze. And when we come back, we're going to be plating them. And to take this even an extra notch, we could add the glaze like I've added and then put it back in the oven at the top heat to let the hot grill on top, actually let this caramelize down. So I'm going to take that and actually do that. And when you come back from break, I'll show you the wings, what they look like. Okay, so see you after the break. Hi guys, welcome back to Lunch Guide. I'm your host and chef, Shina Amariom. If you're just tuning in, today we're making teriyaki glazed chicken wings with some sweet coleslaw salad that I made earlier. For the coleslaw salad, all it has is some sweet capsicums, some lettuce instead of cabbage, and of course some sweet chili sauce mixed in with some vinegar. I didn't use the regular coleslaw that we used to, which is white cabbage and carrots. I decided to add some few things into it, which is why I'm calling it a sweet coleslaw salad. So I'm going to go ahead here and just put on my pan so that I can toss some of the sesame seeds that we're going to get from the oven for the chicken wings. And this is always giving me a headache sometimes. Here we are. So earlier during the break, we made chicken wings, as you do remember. And then I mentioned you could actually add like some of the glaze from the sauce. So that's hot enough. So what I'm going to do is just add some of the sesame seeds once the pan is hot, but it's not yet hot. So I'm going to go back into the oven now, and then just let this heat up the pan. So for the oven, if you're just tuning in, we made teriyaki chicken wings. So for the teriyaki chicken wings, I mentioned earlier, always use a hand glove, so that your hands don't get hot because the oven is hot. I mentioned earlier you could add some of the glaze that you used to marinate, and then just add that to the top, and then put on the salamander heat, which is just the top grill heat, and then let that caramelize and cook your wings evenly. There you go. And this is what you get with the chicken wings. So I'm just going to place this aside. So you get this nice brown caramelized color. This is just from adding the extra sauce, as well as now putting your chicken wings inside the grill to heat from the top oven, the top heat, which is. So place that aside. So they've got this nice beautiful caramelized dark color from the glaze as well. Remember, it is a teriyaki sauce. So I'm going to add some of my sesame seeds in here. Remember, I've just said right now I was tossing my pan. I was heating my pan to toss my sesame seeds so that they can get that pop, and it's already popping. So I'm just going to put this off because my pan is hot enough. That's what that tells me. Yes, it is. It's hot enough. So put off the heat, and that's how you know your sesame seeds are ready. Usually they'll toss and they start to pop up if the pan is hot. So let that stay there for a little while so that they can get a nice little coating into them. And the tossing will just release the natural flavors of the sesame seeds. So we're going to go ahead here and plate our salad. So for our salad, remember I did mention we're using a sweet coleslaw salad. So all I'm going to do is just get my salad here and place it in the center. And my salad has had some time to sit. Remember, my salad has had some time to sit. So now the vegetables here are nice and soft and colorful. Remember, I said we always eat with our eyes, so always remember whatever you're making to make it as colorful as possible. So I always like to put that in mind anytime I'm making something. It's just something to kind of like live by. Especially if you're trying to eat food that you're not used to, the more colorful it is, the more likely you are to enjoy it and to eat it. So for this, I'm going to finish it off with some fresh herbs. Remember I mentioned I had some fresh herbs. You could add them directly into your salad if you wanted to, or just use them kind of like a garnish and just top them off, which is what I'm opting to do. So I'm going to get my chicken wings, which are, they've had a bit of time to cool, so it's not so hot now. I can grab this with my hands. Always test it out beforehand because you definitely do not want to burn yourself. So for this, I'm just going to arrange my chicken wings around my salad, just to give it some character. That's all we're going to do here. And already it's looking pretty. Well, I did say we do it with our eyes, so I just like to always make sure whatever you're cooking, whatever you're presenting, looks pretty to the eye, because people will want to dig in and eat. And that's looking good. So we're going to get our sesame seeds and then just sprinkle this on top. So the reason I said I'm tossing my sesame seeds is just so that they can get the nice nutty flavor. Let me wipe my hands so that this can be easy to add. So just grab some of the sesame seeds and then just sprinkle them around. Now if you wanted to skip this step of adding your sesame seeds or tossing them, you could actually add them in the in the oven when you added the glaze, and then just let that toss up with the grill with the top hit. So our wings are looking good and colorful and glazy. You could add some more glaze if you wanted to, but I think it's decent enough. It's a decent amount. So I'm just going to wipe off any extra sauce that's on the border, because I want to keep my plate as clean as possible. You know me, I like to keep things clean in the kitchen. And there we are. And then I'm going to get some of the cucumber salad. Remember I mentioned earlier I made some cucumber salad. And all I'm going to do with this cucumber salad is just cut off a little bit of some capsicums, just to give it a little bit of color and hint into the green. You could use some fresh chilies for this. So I've chopped that really fine. We call that a brunoise cut, which is just really something that's really finely chopped in chef terms. And then we're just going to give this a mix. So what the juices here do is just kind of like pickle the cucumber, and they change the color as well and give this nice beautiful taste, which is kind of like tangy as well as sweet, and of course fresh because of the cucumbers. So we're just grabbing some of that. So we're grabbing some of the pickled cucumber. So at this stage, it's kind of like you've pickled your cucumber. Though you didn't use too much vinegar, but you did use some vinegar. And like I said, this just gives your cucumbers a nice different taste to them. So just top that in there. Then get some of your chopped capsicums and top that. We're just going to create a space for them. And there we have it, our salad. And of course, the fresh herbs that I said I'm going to finish off with. I'm using a mixture of parsley. So I'm using a blend of parsley and dhania, coriander, depending where you're from. So I'm just going to finish that off. This is something very simple that you could take to work. You could also eat this as a biting or as a snack. And it's very light and fresh, so it's not going to leave you heavy in your stomach. It's going to leave you like a bit energized for your next job or for your evening shift, whatever it is you have to do. So just sprinkle some of the dhania, and that's very good. And there we have it. So that was our teriyaki glazed chicken wings. You can see how colorful and beautiful they look and glossy from the teriyaki sauce, as well as our pickled cucumbers that I made, just because I just wanted to give my cucumbers a bit more of some life, and just to let you know you can do a lot more with the cucumber. So that has been lunch guide for you guys today. So what we made was some teriyaki glazed chicken wings, as well as some sweet coleslaw salad, which did not include the regular white cabbage. Added some few capsicums in there to just give it a little taste, and used lettuce instead. So that's what we did for today. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode lunch guide. It was a pleasure being here with you guys. I had a good time. I hope you did. I hope I taught you to cook some few things that you're not so used to, mixing a few things in the house that you might have in the pantry just laying around. This has been Lunch Guide. I have been your host and chef, Shina Amario. Be sure to join us and follow us on Facebook, Brand Plus TV, where we can interact some more and get asking questions so that I can interact with you. I'm always looking forward to hear your feedback on everything you have to say about all the recipes we make, because I'm willing to share them with you. Okay, so until then, see you next time. Bye.